Hi everyone, it's Dr. Bernstein, and I want to welcome you to week 7 of our semester together. Um, I'm going to start by saying if you haven't already done so and you're a woman, register for this year's women's conference at Trident Talk. It's totally free. They hired me to design it and run it. It's going to be a lot of fun and it's going to be really, really useful. And this year, they managed to get childcare for kids ages 3 through 11. It's Saturday, October 22nd, from I think it starts at 9, it goes to 3:30 p.m. It's just worth every moment of your time. Sorry, I'm just so excited about it that I have to pump it to you guys. Okay, so here we are. We're looking at week 7, and I'm gonna make this bigger so we can actually see it. Okay, so the first thing you want to do on Monday or around Monday is watch this video. The video's like 15 minutes, but I think in order to really take notes, it might be about 30 minutes for you. Where I talk to you about stanzas, visual design, and enjambment because we're entering our poetry phase. And these are just some really useful things to know about and think about when you're reading poetry. So there's the link here. Also, mention some poems and sites uh, in the film, so you can just click on the links here if you want to check them out some more. Then on Monday, I suggest that you take the quiz on that video, but I give you until Saturday at 11:59 p.m. to take it. Then on Tuesday, I just want you to print out the next set of readings, okay? So the next set of readings, there are three. Pamela Spiro Wagner's How to Read a Poem, Beginner's Manual, Billy Collins's Introduction to Poetry, and A Brisk Walk, an interview with Billy Collins. I think it's really cool to get behind the scenes with a poet and like listen to them talk about their creative process. It's very illuminating. So we're going to read that. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pull them up because there's some things that you want to know about how to print them out so that you don't waste paper or ink. The first thing I'm going to do is pull up Spiro Wagner's poem. Okay, so here's the poem. You see, it's not too long, don't worry. What you want to do, you could just print this out, but if you do, what would happen is you're going to get all this information in the sidebar and the header, and that's just going to take up a lot of your ink. So what you want to do is look for that print button. So if you click on print here, I'm not going to print it right now, but you can see it's going to give you this nice, clean, clear poem to print out. And you should already be a little familiar with the site from last week. Let's see what's going to happen. And maybe I should hit back. Okay. The next thing is Billy Collins's Introduction to Poetry. Click here. The print button here is right over here. And, ooh, I thought that let's see. Yeah, if you use that print button that I just called your attention to right over here, that's going to give you this clean copy of the poem. And then the last thing that you need to read is this interview. Now, there's basically you just have to print it out however you can on your computer. It's the longer piece of reading for the week, but you're really going to enjoy it. You really will. Because he talks about why he doesn't like difficult poetry. And he was actually had his office across the hall from me when I taught in New York. He's a very funny guy. Anyway, then on Tuesday, I also want you to just try to copy and paste this and print it out. There are two, I try to, sometimes people get overwhelmed with poetry. So there are two main things that I'd like you to focus on while you're reading the poems. And of course, you should definitely feel free to explore other issues that are of interest to you. The first focus is Wagner calls her poem a manual for beginners. When you hear the word manual, what comes to mind? So a lot of times what happens is people you freeze up when you read poetry. And there are things that you can do to open it up for yourself. Like you know what a manual is. You've heard of a manual before. Like what just going back to what we covered in the very beginning of the semester about questions you can ask yourself when you're reading. So, what what is it about the way the information in this is presented in regular manuals, excuse me. Think about what comes to mind when you hear the word manuals, and then, what strikes you about the way information is usually presented in manuals. And then think about, does Wagner's poem adhere? Does it conform to these traditional conventions of manuals? If so, how? If not, why? Number two, Collins calls his poem an introduction to poetry. What kinds of things would you expect from a traditional lecture introducing you to poetry? And what strikes you as significant about the way Collins introduces people to poetry? What, if anything, in your opinion, makes his approach unusual? Now, of course, as always, I don't want you to be looking at what other people have to say about these poems. Let yourself experience them. So all you really need to do on Tuesday is print out, get clear on what to focus on, and then actually read two poems. Read Spiro Wagner's poem. I think that'll take you about 15 minutes. Apply the strategies that you've learned so far, and read Collins's poem. That's about 15 minutes. Then on Wednesday, I'd like you to read the interview with Collins. I think it might take you about 45 minutes. Mark it up because you're definitely going to be able to use this in your next essay assignment. And then on Thursday, it's going to be our fun Thursday. What you're going to do, instead of reading anything, you're going to watch. There's something really valuable about listening to a poet read his or her poetry. And Collins is particularly amusing to listen to. So I want you to listen to him read The Revenant and listen to him read Lanyard. And then this is optional because it's really sort of rated R due to some profanity. Taylor Mali is a really talented poet, and he has a piece called The Impotence of Proofreading, and it's all about proofreading problems. So it's kind of funny. And on Friday, I recommend that you take the quiz on all the poems. I'll tell you one thing, Lanyard is not on the quiz, and The Impotence of Proofreading is not on the quiz. And I think you should take it on Friday, but I'll give you until Monday. So that's it. As always, if you have any questions, get in touch. Bye, guys.